Creative intelligence has no doubt been a driving force in positioning Lagos State as one of the major economic nerve centers in Africa. In propelling the creative industry to advance prospects of the entertainment and tourism sectors, the Lagos State Governor inaugurated the Film Production Empowerment Committee. Welcome to the Governor this week. I am Lekan Onabanjo. Lagos State Governor Babajide during the week assured Lagos residents that his government is working hard to strategically address security and transportation challenges in the state. The governor was speaking while hosting the Muslim community at Lagos House Marina for a special Ramadan prayer and lectures.
Government that you have pushed us to, we will stop at nothing at ensuring that the real dividends of democracy is second to none. We will give it our very best shot. Because like Ashwatu said, we sought for this job and you've given us the opportunity. We do not take it for granted. We know how important it is and will not let you down. We'll do everything that is important to ensure that we'll keep our state safe, that will create opportunity for every one of you, for all of our businesses, for the youth in our midst. And God will continue to be with each and every one of us. Even in this period of Ramadan, it will end well. We have started well, we will end well.
It is the third session of the 34th Synod of the Lagos Diocese Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, and the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was in attendance, affirmed his government's readiness to develop extensive policies to directly address security issues in the state.
Okada is something that a lot of you have in your heart. What is Sanwo-Olu doing? Sanwo-Olu, why are you not taking the bull by the horn? I know, and it's a tough one, but we'll deal with it in a systematic order. I mentioned yesterday that for us to have a human face to it, we need to provide what we call credible alternatives. Some of them really needs it to hack a living, but there's a whole lot that indeed they are questionable. So our job is to ensure that we can sift them out and we can indeed begin to escalate how we monitor and we manage them. So it is that alternative that I'm promising you, listening and hearing me, that before the end of this month of May, that alternative will be properly fashioned out. And what it is, we will be bringing out last mile buses. These are 10 8-seater buses. The first 500 of it, I have them, and I'll be launching them before the end of this month. This, we believe, will give our citizens that immediate relief in the places and areas where we want to begin the implementation of a phase on ease of Okada maintenance. From the State House Marina, which is where you've given to me to leave for now, which I'm keeping for you. Before I turn into TBS, in the last 1 year, I'm sure I will have arrested well over 100 Okadas that are facing one way. They know it. I pick you, that's the end of it. I pick a car, that's the end of it. We need to live in an orderly society. We need to respect other players, understanding that we're co-sharers on the infrastructure that has been provided. And so when I catch you, there is no excuse. There's no appeal. That's the end of it. Not only will you prosecute you, you will lose that Okada or that vehicle. If you don't know the road, stop, park, and ask. It's not by taking one way and risking the life of others that are law-abiding that we're going to condone. It's not all bad news or very gloomy views. There are a few things that we're doing. And I want to assure you that you begin to see those footprints in Lagos very soon. We're committed to ensure that in your life, and God will spare all of you, you will journey on our rail. You will journey on our rail. There's a rail that is in front of us here. By the end of next year, God will spare all our lives. There will be rail that will be on top of it. We're not only doing one, we're doing 2 rail lines. The red line and the blue line. It's the first sub-national, and go and check it, anywhere in the world that is embarking on a rail project by itself. In other places, it's a national that have the infrastructure and have the wealth without and have the resources to embark on rail infrastructure, because it is a lot of money. But Lagosians deserve it, and that you will get as Lagosians. Health, they say, is wealth. Right in front of you here, there's a general hospital. In this month of May, I will be handing over to Lagosians a radiology and orthopedic hospital right here. That is the building that you see right opposite Western House. It's 95% completed, and within a year, that's when I've put that infrastructure there. The whole of General Hospital here is being rehabilitated. Some of you can quietly go in and have a look. Concurrently, we're doing it up. And on Lagos Island, I just announced that we're building the biggest children's hospital in the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa, the New Mercy Children's Hospital. I want to appeal that a lot of our citizens have buildings that are either not completed or have been abandoned. The state government is going to be making a pronouncement, because this is where we realize that criminal-minded people are hibernating. Please, if you have building that has been abandoned, that for one reason or the other, you are not advancing in the reconstruction, it's either you attempt to get a professional security company to take it over, and so that they can monitor and police it well, as against just leaving it open and people that we cannot identify now make the place, an harbor that is giving us security challenges. Once we make the pronouncement, we're going to give a deadline. After the deadline, we will be taking over those buildings if we still realize that amendments have not been done. As a government, I've committed that we will support all of the infrastructure that will lead to the centenary city. The centenary city is not just about him. It's not just about all of you here. It's about the hope that I want to give to the hopeless. It's about the future and the opportunity that I want to give to our vulnerable parishioners who probably needs it even more than all of us that are sitting here. And so we see it as a partnership between government and the church.
A film production empowerment committee has been inaugurated by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu as part of the initiatives to drive the creative industry in line with the theme's agenda. The 9-man committee, chaired by a renowned movie producer, Richard Mofe-Damijo, comprises of 4 other players from the movie industry and 4 government officials as members.
It's something that is thought out. It's something that we had a vision around. And what do I mean? Under our economic agenda, which you had pronounced as the team's agenda, it's not out of place that the second E there, which is entertainment and tourism, is one of the driving pillars for our government. And each of those pillars, we tenaciously take one after the other, and we'll ask ourselves, how well are we doing on each of those pillars? And for us, the E, which is entertainment and tourism, is so very critical. Critical for a number of reasons. One, it's a strong sector that we see as a springboard for a lot of the talented youth that we have in our community, that we have in our country. Secondly, we also feel that pillar has the opportunity to engage and employ a lot of people. And thirdly, it also takes us outside of our shores. It represents and it helps to sell the things that even government itself cannot sell. Creativity and innovation can't sell it. And so it's such a very important component of our agenda. But we realize that we cannot do it as a government alone. These are usually driven by creative minds, by private sector. But we said we can indeed be an enabler and a change agent, as it were, in that sector. So we said, okay, let's look at the real, movie industry. This is an industry that is known all over the world. After Hollywood and Bollywood, it's actually Nollywood. And we can indeed transform that Nollywood into a global, it's already a global brand, but it can commercialize the numbers to a level where it can compete with both the Hollywood and the Bollywood. And so one of the things that we realize is an impediment to a lot of our producers and film directors is funding. So we said, okay, we can intervene as a government. We don't know it, but let's put together professionals, people of impeccable character, people that have demonstrated their capacity in that industry. And so that's why we've carefully selected the 5 men, from the private sectors. And from the resume, you can see that each one of you has been well sought out. We believe that what we're about is to ensure that we can create the very best essence of our being, right? And so that's why we've carefully selected you, and we believe you create time for us and for your industry that you are so very passionate about. And this committee, supported by 4 government officials, so that they can wither through the fortress of governance and ensure that there are no bureaucracy. You have a larger number, so you indeed can impact, whatever you want to put across. We're expecting that the committee will very quickly be able to support producers who either have an idea, a story that they've started but they couldn't complete, or it's a very fresh idea, and you will have the powers and all of the authority to critique, to amend, and to so decide, what you want to intervene in. And at the end of the day, we're expecting that the support will, as much as possible, we know that on a year-on-year, we want to support. It's still very tricky how we should call it. It's a grant or it's a soft loan. Or, I want to give you that ability to be able to walk through it and see what will work well, and you can determine on a case-by-case basis, what best fits, what we're seeking to achieve. What are we seeking to achieve? We're seeking to be able to help industry around job creation. We want people to be able to bring people out of the unemployment market and let's create jobs for our youth, for our citizens, for the creative minds in this industry. We want to be able to also create entrepreneurs, in future who also can stand and hold, their own ground. Each and every one of you are outstanding, but I'm sure that people along the line too have supported you. We also want to throw back and help people in that space. We want people to have opportunity to develop their capacity. So capacity building is critical to us. And we also want local content support. We do not want the people you're intervening in to take the proceeds, and take it out of the share of this country, and not have the full print, of the benefit of local, supply chain, all of the implements that comes to film, drivers, the cooks, everything that comes with it, so that it's a local domesticated, audience, usage. And so we believe that this, at the end of the day, will be a little test, just a little seed, in that sector. And we're hoping that we can galvanize other private sector, other producers to see that indeed, whilst we don't have all of the resources that is needed, others too can see, the need for us to handhold our citizens and create that opportunity for them, especially coming out from a very difficult time, the pandemic and the COVID-19 that has so affected this industry. We need this industry to get back to shape very, very quickly.
The current administration in Lagos State is putting technology at the center of the various initiatives mapped out for the state. The next story tells us how the soon-to-be-launched compactors to attend to waste management and the commissioning of a fiber optic connectivity system in schools are part of a long line of technology-driven initiatives to accelerate the Lagos Smart City project. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says part of the key priorities of his government is to provide a working and accessible transportation alternatives to residents. The governor was speaking during this year's Lagos Architects Forum with the theme, The City of Lagos, the Next 25 Years. He said his administration is putting technology at the center of the various initiatives in this regard.
The future belongs to the cities. We're seeing an increase in urbanization all throughout the world. If anything has taught us, COVID-19 has also shown us the real essence of now being able to plan our spaces very, very well. Because indeed, we now need to understand and realize that we need to be building for the future. 2050, it's not so far off. Because I know that SGDs have said that they've moved it from 2020 now and they put it to 2030. That will crump up on us before we know it. Now we have to push it further to 2050. And United Nations estimates that there will be more than 2/3 of the world population by that time. The same heart, so there's going to be a lot of pressure. And so we've set for ourselves an agenda. We said that for us to have the Lagos that we want to dream of, we want it to be Africa's model mega city, a global economic financial hub that is safe, that is secure, and allows for its residents to pursue their dreams and aspirations to its fullest. It's daunting. You want to be a mega, you want to be Africa's model city, you don't want to be a global player, and you want to be an economic and financial hub whilst doing all of that. And you want to do that remaining safe, remaining secure, and allowing everybody an opportunity to be able to do what they want to do. On transportation and traffic management, it just didn't drop off. It was a very detailed analysis that will ask the Lagosian, what do we need to do for it? What's the first critical thing that you want us to solve? Just solve traffic for us. Just push us from one place to another. Just get us from this place quicker, faster, and safer. And so it's the first pillar that we have there. And so we are building almost in every part of the city. In fact, people are complaining that there are too many construction going on. We need to do it. We need to improve in all of our local government. Before the end of the month, we will also be launching new compactor trucks, new Dano bins, new household bins, for our tenements, for our residents, at different junctions, and new compactors that can enable and scale up, all of our interventions, in our environment space. Very quickly on education, it's important for us to mention that education is also a bedrock that can help that tomorrow. All of the architects that we're talking about of tomorrow, it's only a strong educational base that can ensure that they get that. To date, in less than 2 years, we've added over 450 new classrooms to the stock. We've built about 100, new buildings into our schools, our secondary schools. I mean, architect David and I were just talking, he was just sharing with me, a very creative container designed school that I saw. And I said they should build it. In fact, they're building it currently as we speak. But he just whispered to me that it was his design, but somebody else told his design. So that's the reality. These are things that we did not make up. We're building that innovative school so that people can see that we can design things too very, very well. And we're building out all of this opportunity for the kids of tomorrow. And so all of that is going on. You see all of the schools that, but beyond that is to say that we're creating technology for them. We're currently doing a 3,000 fiber connectivity in Lagos. 1,800 of it is ready. I think I should go and cut the tape so that people know that it's live and it's alive. But the beauty of it is before the end of this month, we'll be commissioning fiber in 100 schools. They're doing the connectivity right now in 100 public schools. In 100 public schools, there will be fiber. right? So once that is available, computer learning and all of that will be easier. We will not leave it at only schools. They will be connected to hospitals, to public building, and eventually it's going to get to your houses, which we call the last mile, which is to reduce the total cost of internet connectivity, and we've seen that that's the only way to go. That's the future. That is the oil that all of us are. So we are working and ensuring that that grid called the Lagos Metropolitan Fiber Optics, it's supposed to eventually get to about 6,000, but the first phase of 3,000 has gone way above 60-70%, as we speak. So we're doing that, and we're also helping, the young tech entrepreneurs in that sector. So we have a small body, a small board. FAM is not on the board, but a special advisor is on the board, where they give grants to upcoming techpreneurs, to activate their thought process and to give them opportunity. Last year, they gave over 250 million naira. Right, this year, we've also made money available, 20 million, 10 million, 5 million. The board determines who gets what. And based on the applications that they develop, they can become our own Mark Zuckerberg tomorrow. So we're helping and we're supporting, the future of tech.
A new school infrastructure at Akinton Junior Grammar School, Surulere, has been unveiled by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as part of efforts to bridge the infrastructure deficit in Lagos schools. The governor, who also unveiled newly renovated school structures at 3 other government schools, said his administration is prioritizing quality structures to enhance education in state-owned schools.
Education is still the most potent tool of empowerment and one of the most tested ways to close the gap between poverty and health. It provides individuals with the necessary knowledge, with the skills to actualize its great potential and maximize the opportunity that life presents it. The vital role of education is the growth and development of a mega city of our status, and it makes it imperative for us to ensure that our children have access to quality education and an enabling environment for excellent learning. Lagos State is rapidly changing with globalization and technology. There is an urgent need for us to prepare our children for that future that we all see. The projects being commissioned here today will further drive our education and technology pillar under our team's agenda. It will most actualize our greater Lagos vision of quality education, which will remain one of the most solid building blocks for our government. In order to accelerate our children's access to world-class educational learning, we have aggressively embarked on the provision of additional classroom blocks building, administrative offices, school furniture, laboratories, modern toilet facilities, security across our 6 educational districts. Therefore, our children have access to quality education irrespective of their location under a conducive and proper environment for them to learn. We have so far completed over 1,097 projects covering about 970 schools across the state in less than 2 years. In the last 2 years, we have ensured that we promptly construct and rehabilitate over 322 dilapidated structures. We have added almost 100,000 dual composite furniture that have been supplied to our primary and our secondary schools. We are flagging off the school infrastructure renewal project to deliver over 300 new classrooms, which includes 7 new hostel blocks that is added over 2,000 bed spaces in our model schools. The project being commissioned today is a block of 12 classrooms with administrative block with a library, and other ones have 18 classrooms with laboratory, with toilets, with borehole. We have been to Igobi Junior College. We have been to Fazil Omar Senior High School. We have been to Iwaya Onike Girls High School in Iwaya.
The block of 18 classrooms that were being presented at Akito Junior Grammar School here today. I'm delighted to inform you that this will be a continuous exercise until all our promise on infrastructural projects have been delivered in all of our schools.
The education sector in Lagos State has been the fulcrum for galvanizing a crop of highly cerebral intellectuals as teachers, but most importantly as students. The many interventions in training and infrastructural development in schools speak of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's willingness to positively transform the sector to an advanced academic ecosystem. And that's it on the governor this week. But then you can continue with conversations of the governor's activities on all these social media platforms showing on your screen. See you next week. I am Lekan Onabanjo.